This is a story about a man named Hayden Cole Whitaker. Mile marker 256, Interstate 40, Western Arkansas, near Russellville, October 2019, 4:47 in the afternoon. The brakes on his trailer were going. Hayden had 8 seconds before his 80,000-pound Peterbilt hit the bridge. His daughter Emma was 4 years old. She was waiting for her daddy back home in Memphis, 200 miles away. His wife Sarah didn't know it yet, but she had 2 years left to live. And Continental Insurance Group? They'd been waiting for this exact moment. For the next 7 years, they would bury Hayden's claim under a quota nobody was supposed to see. They would deny him. They would threaten him. They would offer him $400,000 to walk away. But Hayden Cole Whitaker was a United States Marine, and Marines don't walk away. This is the story of a single dad trucker who fought one of America's biggest insurance companies and won $2.8 million in compensatory damages, plus $5 million in punitive damages. But more than that, this is the story of how one veteran's stubbornness exposed a corporate cover-up that would shake the trucking industry to its core. 847 truckers were buried by Continental. Hayden Whitaker was the one who dug them all out. This is American Trucker Stories, Memphis, Tennessee, October 14th, 2019, 6 in the morning. The kitchen smelled like bacon and burnt toast, the way Rose Whitaker had made breakfast for 32 years. Rose was 62, a retired elementary school teacher, a widow, and the only reason her son Hayden could keep driving long haul, because Hayden's wife Sarah was still asleep upstairs with the kids, and Hayden was about to leave for 3 weeks on the road. "Daddy, when are you coming home?" Emma asked. Emma was 4 years old, blonde curls, missing her 2 front teeth. She held up a crayon drawing, a stick figure man standing next to a blue truck. Above it, in careful preschool letters, the words, "Daddy, come home." Hayden's chest hurt every time she handed him a new drawing. 3 weeks, baby girl. I'll be back for your sister's birthday, you promise?" He looked her in the eye. The same eye contact he'd given Marines in Helmand Province. The same look his father gave him when he was a boy. "I promise." He tucked the drawing into his dashboard photo holder, right next to the photo of Sarah and the kids from last Christmas. Hayden's truck was a 2019 Peterbilt 579, dark midnight blue, chrome that he polished every Sunday. American flag decal on the driver's side door, and the name Whitaker, hand-painted by his father before the old man died. Hayden bought the rig in 2018 with a VA loan. 6 years left to pay off. 200,000 miles on the odometer. His handle on the CB was Hawk. His call sign from the Marines. He pulled out of the driveway at 6:30. Memphis was still dark. The Mississippi River was a black ribbon to his left. By 7 a.m., he was westbound on Interstate 40, headed for Dallas. 3 drop-offs, then back home. That was the plan. The CB crackled to life. "Hawk, you got your ears on?" It was Jimmy Ray, another owner-operator out of Little Rock, 61 years old, driving 38 years. Copy that, Jimmy Ray. Rolling west on I-40. You hear about the Continental trucking rental yards. They're pulling old trailers out of retirement, cutting corners on inspections. You ain't running one of theirs, are you? Hayden glanced at his trailer. A 2014 Continental trucking dry van. Rented 2 days ago in Memphis. Rented one yesterday. Why? Just be careful, brother. Word is their brake systems ain't been serviced since spring. Hayden's jaw tightened. He checked the brakes before leaving Memphis. They seemed fine, but seemed fine wasn't the same as Marine inspected. The dispatcher was calling. Tony from Continental Trucking. Always pushing, always squeezing. Hawk, I need you to push to Dallas by tonight. Got another load waiting. Tonight. Tony, that's a 14-hour run. Hours of service won't let me. Just do it, Hawk. You're an owner-operator. You handle it. The line went dead. Hayden stared at the dashboard. Emma's drawing fluttered in the AC vent. He had 8 hours of legal driving left. He had 320 miles to go. And he had a rental trailer with brakes that ain't been serviced since spring. 4:32 in the afternoon. October 14th, 2019. Hayden had been driving 7 hours straight. 1 30-minute break in Little Rock. Coffee, bathroom, back on the road. He was on a long downhill grade, approaching the Petit Jean River Bridge, western Arkansas, mile marker 256, speed 65 miles per hour. Ahead of him, a Honda minivan with a young family, mother driving, 2 kids in car seats. Hayden tapped his brakes to slow down. Nothing happened. He tapped again. Harder. The pedal went to the floor. His air brake gauge dropped from 120 psi to 40, to 20, to 0. The trailer brakes were failing, catastrophically. 8 seconds. That's how long Hayden had. In 8 seconds, his 80,000-pound rig would hit that minivan at 65 miles per hour. 2 kids in car seats. Hayden's Marine training kicked in. He'd been trained for this. Not exactly for this, but for moments when the body needed to obey before the mind could think. Second 1, he downshifted, engine braking. Second 2, he hit his hazards. Second 3, he steered hard right, off the road. Second 4, the Peterbilt hit the shoulder gravel. Second 5, the trailer started a jackknife. Second 6, Hayden steered into the skid. Second 7, the rig hit the guardrail at 58 miles per hour. Second 8, the world went wide. The Honda minivan kept driving. The mother never saw what almost happened. Hayden's Peterbilt was on its side in a ditch, 40 feet from the guardrail. He woke up in St. Mary's Hospital in Russellville 6 hours later. 3 broken ribs, a spinal injury, a concussion. Sarah arrived at midnight, driving from Memphis, crying the whole way. Emma and Mason stayed with Grandma Rose. The next morning, a woman in a blue suit walked into Hayden's hospital room. Her name tag said, Tina Marshall, Continental Insurance Claims. She smiled. She was kind. She brought flowers. Mr. Whitaker, I'm so sorry about your accident. We just need a few signatures to get the claims process started. Hayden was on morphine. His head was foggy. His back screamed every time he moved. She handed him a clipboard. Just a preliminary statement. Standard procedure. He signed. 3 signatures, 2 initials. He didn't read what he was signing. 2 weeks later, the letter came. Continental Insurance Group. Letterhead. Black ink. Bold. Claim denied. Reason, driver negligence. Failure to inspect trailer brakes prior to operation. The amount denied, $480,000. Hayden read the letter 3 times. His back surgery was scheduled in 6 days. Cost, $180,000. He didn't have it. For the next 4 years, Hayden Cole Whitaker fought Continental Insurance Group alone. 3 personal injury lawyers took his case. 3 lawyers dropped it. Continental's too big, they said. Bad faith is hard to prove. The signed statement hurts us. Hayden mortgaged his house. He sold his father's truck. The 1995 Kenworth W900 Hayden grew up riding in. He paid for his own back surgery in cash, $80,000 lumbar fusion at a clinic that took payment plans. He couldn't drive for 14 months. Sarah went back to work as a hospital nurse, 60 hours a week. Then, on May 17th, 2021, Sarah died. She was driving to pick up Emma from preschool. A drunk driver crossed the center line on Poplar Avenue in Memphis at 3:18 in the afternoon. Sarah was 31 years old. Emma was 4. Mason was 2. Hayden almost gave up that week. He stood in his garage one night with a bottle of bourbon and a Marine Corps K-bar knife sitting next to his Peterbilt 579. The truck that had ruined his life. He thought about ending it. Then Mason wandered out in his pajamas, 5 years old, eyes still puffy from sleep. "Daddy, are we going to be rich again?" Hayden didn't know what to say. "Yeah, buddy, we're going to be rich again." He put the bourbon down. He put the knife away. He went inside and read Mason a story about a dump truck. In 2023, Hayden discovered the OOIDA Forum, Owner-Operator Independent Drivers Association, the largest trucker advocacy group in America. He posted his story. Within 48 hours, 12 other owner-operators replied. Same insurance company, same denial, same year, same trailer manufacturer. Continental had a pattern. Hayden started his own investigation. His Marine intel training kicked in. He cross-referenced cases, filed FOIA requests with the Arkansas Department of Transportation, pulled accident reports. By summer 2025, he had a list. 204 truckers had filed bad faith complaints against Continental Insurance Group between 2018 and 2024. The complaints were nearly identical. Faulty rental trailers, convenient driver negligence findings, signed statements obtained under medical sedation, denial letters within 14 days. This wasn't random. This was a system. On August 12th, 2025, Hayden Cole Whitaker put on his Marine Corps dress blues for the first time in 9 years. He drove his Peterbilt to Continental Insurance Group's regional headquarters in downtown Memphis. He parked in the visitor lot. He walked into the lobby. The receptionist looked up, confused. "I'm here to see Vice President Robert Riley," Hayden said. "Tell him Sergeant Whitaker is here. From the Whitaker case, mile marker 256, October 14th, 2019. The receptionist made a call. Security arrived in 2 minutes. 2 men in suits. Sir, you need to leave." Hayden didn't move. He reached into his pocket and pulled out his Marine Corps dog tags. He set them on the reception desk. Then he pulled out his Purple Heart, set it next to the dog tags, then his Bronze Star. "I served this country for 6 years. I deployed twice to Afghanistan. I came home so I could drive a truck to feed my family. Your company has buried my claim for almost 7 years. I need 5 minutes of Mr. Riley's time." The lobby went silent. Through the glass doors of the elevator, Hayden saw Robert Riley, Vice President of Claims, Continental Insurance Group. Riley was 52 years old, Italian suit, gold cufflinks. He'd been watching from the lobby cameras for the last 3 minutes. He walked over to Hayden. "Sergeant Whitaker, I'm sure you can appreciate that I cannot discuss an active claim." "Mr. Riley," Hayden said quietly, "you don't understand how the Marine Corps works." Riley froze. Hayden continued. "We don't quit. We don't lose. We don't give up. And we don't forget." He picked up his medals. He picked up his dog tags. "I'll see you in federal court." He turned and walked out of the building. The lobby cameras caught everything. 3 weeks later, That footage would be exhibit number 1 in the largest insurance bad faith class action in American trucking history. 3 days after Hayden's Continental lobby visit, an email arrived in his inbox. Sender, m.chen.whistleblower@protonmail.com. Subject, I have what you need. The message read, Sergeant Whitaker, I worked at Continental for 9 years. I have documents. Max Diesel Bar, Memphis, Saturday, 9 p.m. Come alone. Don't tell anyone. MC Max Diesel Bar was a trucker dive on Lamar Avenue, Memphis, the kind of place where the floors were sticky and the jukebox played George Strait. Hayden walked in at 8:55 p.m. on Saturday, August 23rd, 2025. A man at the back booth waved him over. 34 years old, Asian American, glasses, buttoned-up shirt. He didn't look like he belonged in Max Diesel. Marcus Chen, he said, extending his hand. Former senior claims adjuster, Continental Insurance Group, Memphis office. Hayden sat down. Marcus slid a USB drive across the table. 247 internal emails, 6 PDF training manuals, 1 Excel spreadsheet titled Q3 2019 Deny Quota Tracking. Hayden looked at the drive, didn't touch it. Why are you doing this? Marcus took a long drink of his beer. Because 3 years ago, my supervisor told me to deny a workers' comp claim for a single mom trucker out of Tulsa. Her name was Maria Castillo. She had 3 kids. She broke her back loading a trailer with a defective ramp. Marcus's voice tightened. I refused. I said her claim was legitimate. They fired me the next day. Said I wasn't a team player. Maria Castillo killed herself 8 months later. She left a note. Marcus looked Hayden in the eye. I read the note. It mentioned Continental by name. I've been carrying it for 3 years. He pushed the USB closer. I knew this day would come. I just needed someone strong enough to use it. Hayden plugged the drive into his laptop that night, sat in his kitchen until 4 a.m. reading. What he found broke his heart in ways the accident never had. Document 1. An internal memo dated January 4th, 2018. From Robert Riley, Vice President of Claims, to all regional claims managers. The memo read, effective immediately, we are implementing a target deny rate of 73% for all claims under $500,000. Special focus categories: veteran-owned operators, single driver claims, and owner-operators with mortgages. These categories statistically settle for less. Document 2, an Excel spreadsheet, 847 trucker names, categorized by resistance level, settlement floor, and vulnerability factors. Hayden Cole Whitaker was on the list. Resistance level, 5 out of 5, the highest. Settlement floor, $400,000. Vulnerability factors: deceased spouse, 2 minor children, mortgaged residence, veteran benefits, eligibility. Document 3, the bombshell. Continental Insurance Group was a wholly owned subsidiary of Continental Capital Group. Continental Capital Group also owned Continental Trucking Holdings, the same company that rented Hayden the faulty trailer. The insurance company that denied his claim and the trucking company that gave him the defective trailer were the same company. Hayden sat in his kitchen, stared at his laptop. The sun was rising over Memphis. He picked up his phone. He called the Arkansas Insurance Commissioner. March 17th, 2026, United States District Court, Western District of Tennessee, Memphis, class action plaintiffs, 847 American truckers. Defendant, Continental Insurance Group, Continental Trucking Holdings, and Continental Capital Group. Lead plaintiff, Sergeant Hayden Colehawk Whitaker. The case was called Whitaker et al. Versus Continental Capital Group. It would become required reading in insurance law classes for the next 20 years. The evidence was overwhelming. Marcus Chan testified for 6 hours. He brought receipts. He brought emails. He brought the deny quota memo. 12 other former Continental employees came forward. Some had been waiting years. The Arkansas Insurance Commissioner revoked Continental's license to operate in Arkansas, pending federal review. The Tennessee Department of Insurance opened a parallel investigation. The FBI joined for wire fraud charges. Landline magazine ran a cover story, The Continental Conspiracy. CNN ran a 30-minute special. Robert Riley was fired on March 30th, 2026. 2 weeks before, he was scheduled to testify. His replacement testified instead, confirmed the quota system, confirmed the parent company structure, confirmed the deliberate targeting of veteran-owned owner-operators. On May 18th, 2026, the verdict came in. Continental Capital Group, guilty of bad faith insurance practices, civil RICO violations, and consumer fraud. Settlement breakdown. Hayden Cole Whitaker, compensatory damages, $2,800,000. Punitive damages, Whitaker individual, $5 million. Class action settlement, 846 other truckers, $79,200,000. Total, $87 million. Continental Capital Group stock dropped 32% in one trading day. The CEO, Margaret Holloway, resigned the next morning. Robert Riley was indicted on federal charges of mail fraud and conspiracy. He took a plea deal. 5 years federal prison minimum security. The day the verdict was read, Hayden sat in the courtroom in his Marine Corps dress blues. Behind him sat 62 other plaintiffs, many of them veterans, many of them single fathers, all of them buried by Continental for years. Hayden's lawyer, a sharp-tongued New York-trained attorney named Sandra Reeves, asked Riley one question on the stand. "Mr. Riley, do you remember what Sergeant Whitaker said in your lobby in August 2025? Riley looked at the floor. Yes. What did he say? Riley's voice was barely audible. He said, I didn't understand how the Marine Corps works. Sandra Reeves smiled. Just slightly. Mr. Riley, do you understand now? Silence. Then, from the back of the courtroom, Hayden's mother, Rose Whitaker, wept softly. In the second row, Emma, now 9 years old, held her grandma's hand. June 14th, 2026. Memphis, Tennessee, a Saturday evening. The Whitaker house on Avalon Street was the same modest brick home Hayden had grown up in. The Peterbilt 579 was no longer in the driveway. Hayden had sold it the week after the verdict. He couldn't look at it anymore. That truck had killed his career. It had killed his marriage in some ways. It had killed the version of him that existed before October 14th, 2019. In its place sat a brand new 2026 Peterbilt 389. Classic style, chrome stacks, custom paint job, dark blue with white pinstriping, American flag on the door, and on the side, in gold lettering, Sarah Mae Whitaker Foundation, driving school and advocacy. Hayden had used part of his settlement to start a foundation in Sarah's name. The mission, train new owner-operators. Teach them about insurance bad faith, and teach them about their rights under federal law. Teach them how to read the fine print. He didn't want any other widow to read a denial letter the way he did. Emma ran out onto the porch, 9 years old now, Same blonde curls, same missing 2 front teeth, except now they'd grown back in. She held a crayon drawing, a stick figure family, Dad, Grandma, Mason, Emma, and up in the corner, with a halo above her head, Mommy. Daddy, look, I drew us. Mommy, too. Hayden took the drawing. His chest hurt. The same hurt he'd had every time Emma handed him a drawing for the last 6 years. But this time, the hurt felt different. It felt like coming home. It's beautiful, baby girl. Are you staying home tomorrow? He pulled her into his lap. I'm staying home every day, Emma. I'm not going anywhere. Mason came out onto the porch behind them, 7 years old, holding a Hot Wheels semi-truck. Dad, can you teach me how to drive one for real? When I'm big? Hayden looked at his son. When you're big enough, Mason, I'll teach you everything. Rose came out with 3 glasses of sweet tea. She sat down next to her son, 62 years old, eyes tired but bright. Your father would be proud of you, Hayden. Pa would have said I should have fought him harder. Pa would have said you fought him just right. The sun was setting over the Mississippi River. Memphis Bridge lit up gold in the evening light. Hayden held Emma in his lap. Mason was on the porch steps, playing with his toy truck. Rose sipped her sweet tea. 847 truckers had received their settlements. 43 of them were single fathers like Hayden. Maria Castillo's children, who Marcus Chin had tried to protect, received $400,000 from the settlement fund. Marcus made sure of it. Continental Capital Group filed for bankruptcy protection in September 2026. Their assets were sold off to a consortium of trucker-owned insurance cooperatives. And Robert Riley, in his federal prison cell, kept a single piece of paper taped to his wall. The court transcript page where Sandra Reeves had asked him, Mr. Riley, do you understand now? The highway is long. The road takes everything from a man. His time, his back, his marriage, his patience. But sometimes, just sometimes, the road gives back. Sergeant Hayden Cole Whitaker, single father, Marine, trucker, survivor. This was his story, and the story of 847 American truckers who were buried and dug out together. This story is a fictional dramatization inspired by patterns in the American trucking insurance industry. All characters, companies, and cases depicted are imagined. If you are a trucker facing insurance disputes, contact OOIDA or consult a licensed attorney in your state. Subscribe for new stories every Thursday.